following podcast is a Jill Devine Media production.
Christianity has become known for judgy people, strange words, ancient stories, confusing rules, and a members-only mindset. This is why I stayed away from the church for so long, but it's not supposed to be that way. I'm Jill Devine, a former radio personality with 3 tattoos, a love for a good tequila, and who's never read the entire Bible. Yet, here I am, hosting a podcast about faith. The Normal Goes a Long Way podcast is your home for real conversations with real people using real language about how faith and real life intersect. Welcome to the conversation.
This is kind of a very new dynamic, Laura, what we have going on today in this episode. I'm Jill Devine along with Laura Fleetwood, and we have 3 special guests. But before I introduce them, I want to explain why they are here with us today. So in our last episode, we had a conversation with Dr. David McDonald, and we talked about the men's conference, and we talked about how it is for guys, how it is for boys, like what is their stress indicators or how do they deal with these sorts of things going in their lives? Because we have husbands, but we don't really necessarily know because
We don't have sons.
Right. We only know what it's like to be parents to girls. So Laura has talked a little bit about what she has been doing for the past few years, and let's do a little brief synopsis on that, what you've been doing for your doctoral.
Sure. So throughout the last 3 years of getting my doctorate, I had to choose a project or something that I wanted to focus my research on. And because battling anxiety and stress is such a personal issue to me, and because I have 2 young girls, I decided that I wanted to focus on how to proactively help young girls deal with stress in their life. So I spent 3 years talking to girls and moms and counselors and psychiatrists and all the people who kind of deal in that world, and doing a lot of research on how stress impacts us and what can lead to resilience from stress. And my project over those 3 years ended up being developing a stress resilience workshop that tweens, so girls 8 to 12, would attend with their mom or their primary female caregiver. And then we actually got to launch it for the first time this past week at Messiah. Messiah was the first host. And our guests today were there. So we're going to actually talk to people who participated and find out how it went and what they learned. And
so let me introduce our guest. First, we have Mama. We have Missy. How are you, Missy?
good. Thank you.
You're welcome. And then we have sisters Alix and Morgan.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Alix is getting ready to go into 6th grade, and then Morgan is getting ready to go into 5th grade, and they were at the workshop. I was not. And the reason why, I have littles, so they are 5 and 7, and I told Laura that I did not want to attend this workshop as a friend, which sounds rude. That's not it. As a friend or a coworker, because I want to attend it as a mother. Even though you all are going to let me know some of the things you experience, I want to get that first experience with my daughters. So I have a lot of questions, because one of the things that people like to make fun of me about is I try to get every single tool in my tool belt, and sometimes it's a lot. But I want to be the best mom and the best role model that I can for my girls. I want to communicate. I want to know what's going on. And so this seems perfect. And the other thing is, when you are a parent, and Missy, you also have a little boy, so I don't know if you've experienced this as well, but when you're a girl mom, you always hear, just wait till middle school, just wait until they hit their teenage years, just wait. What you're experiencing now, Jill, that's nothing compared to what's going to happen. And then you hear about the mean girls and you hear about the friends, and it really concerns me. Mm-hmm. And so this workshop that you had, Laura, it's called TWIRL. Mm-hmm. And so let's first start, Missy, with why you said yes. Like why, I mean, obviously because of the ages, you meet the criteria. Even though you meet the criteria, that doesn't mean you're always like, what prompted you to say, okay, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah. So the reason, well, I always just like to say yes. So yes, the fact that we fell into the age range of kind of the participants that were joining. I always enjoy the community of anything that we do here. However, the reason that I really said yes to this in particular is because I think as moms, we can be very, I'll speak personally, we can be reactive when it comes to some of these issues. And so when you're talking about things like anxiety or stress or whatever it might be, I want to be more intentional about getting ahead of it. Instead of them all of a sudden experiencing what's going on in their lives. And then I'm like, oh, now we should talk about it. Instead, we can talk about it so that when it starts to occur, we already have some tools in our toolbox.
Did you feel like you needed to find the right words, though? Were you like, I want to go into this because I need to know how to communicate these things to, because like I don't know exactly how you do talk about that stuff.
So no, I think, when I chose to sign up, I really kind of went into without expectation because it's an area that I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I don't know the good ways to bring up these, it's not like we're all sitting around and just like, so let's talk about anxiety
today.
Yeah.
Stressed you out.
What's your stress level? And so I just wanted to get ahead of it. I wanted to just, and allow for conversation between the three of us, because I don't have all the answers and I won't have all the answers, but if we can learn to communicate it together and kind of walk through that journey together, then I thought that was a great opportunity.
Alix and Morgan, I am guessing that you have a pretty good relationship with your mom.
Yeah. That
you're here. Yes. So when she approached you about this, what were you thinking? Because obviously, did you ask them or tell them they were coming?
Yeah. No, I think, because we saw it advertised. And I remember I looked over at Morgan and I said, do you feel stressed? And she looked at me like, I don't know.
What's that mean?
Yeah. But we were interested. So yeah, we had the conversation and they were interested. I won't speak for you. Maybe you weren't. But we're interested in signing up. And we knew that we wanted to attend when we started seeing it advertised. Yeah.
Okay, so you know that you're signed up. Mom signed you both up. What are you thinking going into it? We're going to have some time with Mom. We're going to learn about hard things. I mean, what are you expecting?
Well, I was thinking that we were just going to talk for 4 hours about stress, which got me a little bit overwhelmed because that was a long time. But I'm glad that it wasn't like just talking and that we had like breaks and activities to go along with it.
Okay, what about you, Morgan?
I was also overwhelmed because I didn't know what was going to happen.
Okay.
Did you think it was going to be like class? Like you were going to sit there and just have to listen to a teacher for 4 hours? Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be a little overwhelming.
All right. Okay, so
Good to know.
Did you have friends that also attended?
Yes. I had my friend Addie.
Okay. Before we get into the workshop, what's school like for you? Is it hard being a girl and your age?
Sometimes, I don't know, it just kind of depends on the day.
This is not a right or a wrong answer. Is social media involved in your lives? Like, do you both have social media?
Like TikTok or Instagram?
Phones?
No, I don't have like TikTok or Instagram.
I have YouTube, but that's it.
Yeah.
Do you find that you have a lot of friends that do have phones and social media?
Yes.
Do you feel pressured by that you don't?
No, not really.
Tell me why.
I feel like that it's really addicting, and I don't want to just spend my time sitting on the couch just scrolling through TikTok.
Oh, Jill is thirsty.
There's hope. Oh, really? They're really okay.
They do have Messenger. So they have a way to communicate, Facebook Messenger, to communicate with their friends who also have that. So they have a communication aspect, but not really social media outside of that.
Because I hear that is a barrier sometimes in middle school and even leading up to middle school. And so it scares me because I know I used to be on Facebook and I got off of it because it was not helping me mentally. I realized this is not great for me, so I got to take this off. And I just had a conversation with a couple people about this recently. We miss being able to see people's kids and what these big celebrations are, but that does not outweigh what it does to us mentally. And so I'm on Instagram, and for some reason, Instagram is not a trigger for me. And I think it's because I don't necessarily see a lot of personal stuff from other people. I'm mostly looking up recipes that involve pickles because I love pickles or mom hacks, So I have, through some research, have heard how damaging social media is, and we're going to start learning how much it's affected these kids from 5 to even 10 years ago and where they end up. Is this a conversation that you have had in the home, Missy, with your husband and with the girls? I know that there are girls that have phones and that are their age and they're on these crazy platforms.
Yeah, so we, I don't know that we formally had the conversation. I know that they saw me a couple years ago get off all of social media just as a kind of a refresh, and I never went back to it for the same way that you were just saying. I never went back because it was just freeing. And then I really had to think about my why. Why am I posting it? Is it because, is it why?
Right.
Is it because it's just, I want my family to see it? Because I can send them pictures. I can send my family pictures, And so what really was that fulfilling in me? And then with them, I don't know that we'll say no. They haven't really approached it yet with the desire, and I certainly wasn't going to lead the charge. So,
right. What are some other stressors in your life? I mean, I threw out social media. That seems to not be one that is too much of a big deal for you. What are some other things that bother you, or you're trying to figure out, oh, wait, why do I feel this way about this?
Friends most of the time get me really stressed out because they make up little arguments over the silliest things.
Can you give me an example?
When somebody didn't like what somebody said, then they're just really upset, and then them two just fall apart.
Yeah, it's hard to see friends arguing, and then sometimes we feel oh, which one do I need to take a side? Or, yeah, that's hard.
What about you, Morgan?
For me, it can sometimes be stressful if I have heavy schedules.
So do you have is it just heavy schedules in school or outside of school too? Is that what you mean?
Mainly school.
Okay. So then let's think about those that have, they feel like they have a heavy workload at school and then they're doing extracurricular activities. That has to be crazy in itself.
Yeah. I mean, what the girls are saying is exactly what I found in my research, is that the biggest stressors for tweens are friends and schoolwork, schedules and extracurriculars, and then the stress of just living in a family, right, with two parents who may not always, get along, and siblings, and, it's living with people is challenging.
Yeah, we definitely saw it going into their grades now, 4th and 5th, where it's just because they don't want to give up time, their extracurricular time. They love the sports that they play. Yeah. They like the extra stuff that they do, but there's more homework. And so then you're going from, school and luckily I have a bit of a flexible schedule, but some days it could be, it's school, and then maybe it's after school care. And then we're going to, this practice, but we still have a book report to do. And so, then we're all up until, and then let's squeeze in some dinner that's not somewhat healthy
For real.
And get it all in. So yeah, and then and then go to sleep and repeat.
Well, and then that affects them because as the parents, we're stressed, which I'm sure they can feel and take on, and then it's just this cycle, this vicious cycle that keeps on happening, and that's hard in itself. All right, so let's get into the workshop. So you think you're going to come to class, a 4-hour class.
And to be fair, I let them out early. It was only like 3 hours and some.
Oh, that's always a positive. Okay, so you come in, and what happens first? You guys sit down. We know all that. But Laura, you come out and you just start talking. What do you do?
Well, first of all, I wanted the space to represent like what a special night this was going to be. I mean, if you think about it, how many times do you just get to spend time with your girls, like, and talk? Like, it's not a lot. Like, we always are busy, right? We said that. So we had this space set up with just, looking very aesthetically pleasing and little tablecloths, and each mom or grandma had their own small table that they sat at with their girls. So it was like a little private space, and lots of fun things on the tables and snacks. And so we just wanted it to be kind of a fun surprise, so that when you walked in, you're like, oh, wait a minute, this is something special. Like, this is something that's going to be memorable.
And it was, for sure. I mean, the experience started not just when, Laura came out and, but it was as soon as you walked in, you see just familiar faces, you see some friends, you're starting to chat. And it was very welcoming. Just like the colors and everything was a very like calming presence. We all had our own little tables with our table numbers with some snacks, and like even some of the girls were just like, free snacks.
Yep. There better be snacks, right?
And then you just knew right away that we all had our independent tables so that we could speak freely with one another. So that was apparent right when we came in, which was really nice.
So then they're cozy, they're sitting down, and how do you walk them through what's about to happen? Because nobody knows.
Right. So, we started at the beginning, right? We talked about what is stress, like defining it, and what does it do to our bodies? And how does it make our bodies feel? And what are some of the common things that stress us out? And then we had lots of conversation at the tables so that the girls and the moms could share. And I specifically wanted the moms to share their stress too, which, I mean, how often do you talk about to your mom about what stresses her out? Do you ever ask her that? No. So that's kind of eye-opening for the girls as well. And it also helps them know, hey, I'm not alone. Like when I feel this stress, my mom knows. She understands. So we did that. Yeah, we started at the beginning. And then I introduced TWIRL, which is an acronym, 5 steps for how to not stay stuck in your stress, but lots of activities like they would bounce a ball, because we talked about how resilience is like a ball bouncing back up. And then so every time they bounced the ball to each other, they had to share something that was stressful in their lives. So that's one example. We got them up from the table a lot.
Oh, that would definitely help. Yeah, then that is definitely not sitting in a classroom for 3 hours.
We did a lot of moving. Yeah, that was fun.
Oh, yes. Okay. I just thought of when you said what it's like to have mom explain her stress. What did you say to them? What was a stress for you?
I said schedules. I do remember saying that, or if we're running late, so just kind of coming back to, if we need to be somewhere on time and everybody's getting ready and, dressed and all of that. So I will have anxiety peaks for if we're starting to run late for things. So I'm trying to be more gentle on myself and the family,
right?
When that happens. And then I said when the little one Brady, if he has a meltdown in public, that will cause my stress to rise.
Were you surprised, ladies, on what your mom told you?
No, not really.
Not really. No. Okay.
Reasonable. That's fair, Mom.
I think they can see it. They know that. Yeah.
We're gonna walk away.
I wish I hid my stress a little bit.
I know. I know.
You are stressed out.
What I think is something else that came to mind when you said having them name what their stressor is I think sometimes when I think about it with my girls, naming that and acknowledging that it's normal. Like, I think maybe my parents, if I said, oh, I'm stressed out because my friend didn't play with me, they were like, oh my gosh, you want to talk about stress? Let's talk about what really is stressful. Well, no, this is what's stressful right now in your life. And so I always try to help with my husband saying, if one of the girls, they're crying or they're upset, and while we both, and I do it too, while we both at first say, you're going to be okay, instead of saying that, more of a, all right, tell me how you feel. How is this making you feel? You can be sad about this. You can definitely be sad, but let's try to figure out a way to make it better. I think we can make a huge impact with these kiddos by saying the feelings you're feeling are legit. Like, you're not less than because this is how you're feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
We talked a lot about what it means to be a good listener, right? And to practice listening skills. So they did a little activity with that where they had to learn about an event that one of them was at, but the other one wasn't. And they had to ask open-ended questions and to learn as many details as they could about the event. So that was huge. Just learning to verbalize what is stressful is a big deal, and to feel safe and know who's on your team that you can, who's trustworthy that you can share with.
All right, now's a good time to hit pause. Come back in 2 weeks. In our next episode, we're going to talk a little bit more in detail with Missy and the girls about some of the techniques that they learned at the TWIRL workshop and some last-minute advice. You can get more details right now at normalgoesalongway.com about the TWIRL workshop, and thanks for listening.